What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Conor McGregor issues bold prediction for Octagon return. The return of former two-division UFC champion Conor McGregor has been a long time coming. As McGregor prepares to return to the Octagon, fans have been anxiously awaiting news on when he will re-enter the USADA testing pool, with UFC President Dana White recently revealing that Iron Michael Chandler will likely be the one welcoming McGregor back to the Octagon. It seems as though the only obstacle to the fight being finalized is McGregor's eligibility. In the meantime, McGregor has vowed to, quote, slice through his next opponent when he makes his return to the Octagon, no matter who it is. With the new year officially underway, McGregor will have to enter the testing pool soon if he has any hope of potentially headlining the UFC's International Fight Week card, considered by many to be the biggest event of the year. According to reports, the event is set to take place between June 26th and July 2nd, with the pay-per-view card likely falling on Saturday, July 1st. With Chandler fresh off a third-round loss to Dustin Poirier, a 6-month layoff would give him plenty of time to rest up and prepare for a showdown. Considering how active Chandler has been throughout his run with the UFC, a break may time up pretty perfectly with McGregor's mandatory testing period. After his loss to Poirier, Chandler revealed at the post-fight press conference that he wanted a fight with McGregor. If that is still the case, he'll likely be willing to wait for a crack at the former champion. What do you think about McGregor's prediction? Will Mystic Mac come through with another bold prediction? Or will he suffer his third straight loss in a row when he returns? Give us your thoughts in the comment section below. Dustin Poirier and Sean O'Malley give two very different takes on Dana White altercation. Ever since footage surfaced of Dana White slapping his wife while the pair vacationed in Cabo, the fight community has continued to quarrel regarding his actions. While many have condemned the UFC president for escalating the situation, others have defended him, claiming that he was simply defending himself. As calls for White to face repercussions continue to surface, former UFC interim lightweight champion Dustin Poirier has weighed in on the situation, saying,
"Dude, I'm not sure. I have no clue. You should never put your hands on a woman. I don't know. I don't know the repercussion that comes along with somebody at his stature running these businesses and doing something like that. I have no clue. It's not a good look for sure."
His views were not shared by bantamweight #1 contender Sean O'Malley, who also weighed in on the situation with quite a different take. The way he seems to see things, if White's wife didn't want to be slapped, then she shouldn't have slapped him in the first place. Sugar Sean went on to credit alcohol for escalating the situation, saying that although he's never gotten into an altercation with his girlfriend, he understands that being blackout drunk results in people doing things they wouldn't ordinarily do.
I feel bad for Dana.
For Dana?
Yeah. His wife slapped him. That is rude.
It is rude.
And it deserves a slapping back.
No, it doesn't. It does not.
I don't know. It's a tricky one. But I don't know. It's like, treat people how you want to be treated.
He also followed up the comments by ripping MMA Junkie for reporting him as saying that White's wife deserved to be slapped, with many defending him by saying that his original comments in question were merely a joke. What do you make of the situation? Give us your thoughts in the comment section below. Before we continue, make sure you give that like button some love and be sure to subscribe to the MMA Zone for all of the latest news. Gilbert Burns explains why he thinks Leon Edwards could upset Kamaru Usman again. Going into the 5th round of Leon Edwards and Kamaru Usman's UFC 278 title fight, Usman was ahead on all 3 judges' scorecards. Had it not been for a perfectly placed and perfectly timed head kick from Rocky, the belt would have remained with Usman, who would have remained the pound-for-pound king. After the fight, it was announced that an immediate rematch would be on tap for the new year. Quickly, fans began to predict that Usman would get his revenge and reclaim the welterweight title. Although there's been no updates on when the trilogy fight between these two will take place, former title challenger Gilbert Burns thinks Edwards may shock the world once again. The way he sees things, the first time the two fought, Rocky was at a disadvantage given that the fight took place in Salt Lake City, Utah at altitude.
And Leon did very good in the first round. I was impressive with the takedown, mount, taking the back. But I think he faded a little bit second, third round. Now going to the second fight, there's no altitude in London. That's freaking Leon's house, you know? I think it's a 50-50 fight. I think it's gonna be super, super close. If I gotta give the advantage, it's gonna be a little bit from Leon because no altitude on this time. Great camp at home.
If the rematch between these two ends up taking place in London, like everyone expects, it'll headline the UFC 286 card on March 18th. Although the expectation is that the fight will be booked in time, Usman was recently seen wearing a cast of sorts, leading many to question whether or not Ali Abdelaziz is telling the truth about the former champion being ready to go. How do you think the trilogy fight between the two men plays out? Give us your thoughts in the comments section below. Bryce Mitchell accuses Alexander Volkanovski of taking easy fights. Since Alexander Volkanovski captured the UFC featherweight title by defeating Max Holloway at UFC 245, he's defended his belt 4 times. 2 of those fights were against Max Holloway, with the other 2 coming against Brian Ortega and the Korean Zombie. Although the champion currently sits atop the UFC's pound-per-pound rankings, previously undefeated contender Bryce Mitchell, he believes he's cherry-picking easy fights. In the wake of his recent loss, Mitchell spoke in an interview about Volkanovski allegedly taking, quote, easy fights, saying,
"No, I can go knock Alexander Volkanovski the f out and get $10 million. And I'm tired of him talking about there's no other contenders. He ain't fighting the toughest. That's what's up with him. He's getting the easy fights. These contenders are taking each other out. That's what's going on. He's getting paid 100 times what I get paid. The fight ain't even as hard as the I'm fighting."
Mitchell went on to call for a fight with Volkanovski, taunting the champion by saying that if he wants an easy title defense, he's happy to step into the Octagon to give him one. Prior to Mitchell's loss to Topuria, he was hovering just shy of a top spot in the division. With a win over the undefeated Topuria, he likely would have set himself up for a fight with a top contender, while Yair Rodriguez and Josh Emmett fight for the interim featherweight title. So far, there's been no word yet as to when Mitchell will look to return to the Octagon following the first loss of his professional career. When he's ready to fight again, how do you see things playing out? Give us your thoughts in the comment section below. And now for our breaking news story of the day. Sean O'Malley offers Jake Paul advice ahead of move to MMA. This week, it was revealed that controversial YouTuber Jake Paul had signed a deal with the PFL to help them launch their, quote, super fight division. The new division will see competitors earn 50-50 pay-per-view splits and will play host to Paul's eventual MMA debut later this year. In the video announcing the deal, Paul called out former UFC superstar Nate Diaz to a 2-fight agreement that would see the duo box and compete in MMA. Immediately, the PFL's fighters began to call Paul out, opening the door to a long list of hypothetical matchups for the former Disney star's MMA debut. During a recent episode of Bro Malley, the bantamweight #1 contender offered some advice to the controversial YouTuber, saying,
I wouldn't even say don't even train jiu-jitsu. I mean, you might as well train jiu-jitsu, but if you got good at takedown defense, I mean, he picked up boxing pretty quick.
Yeah.
Some guys aren't like just because they're MMA fighters doesn't mean they whoop Jake. Jake's got good boxing, good takedown defense. Learn how to check some kicks. That'd be important. If he goes and fights anyone that's a really good wrestler, would take him down. But if you could fight some guy who's 6-3, who's a kickboxer, doesn't wrestle at all, there's ways he can win.
So far, there's been no word yet as to when Paul could make his debut, or who his first opponent could be. After being called out by UFC veteran Donald Cerrone for a boxing match prior to news of his transition to MMA surfaced, Paul shot the possible fight down, saying that he's ready to fight someone younger. With Paul's debut on the horizon later this year, who do you want to see him match up against? Give us your thoughts in the comments section below. Today's video was packed with some juicy stories from the fight world. What are your thoughts about what's going on in MMA? Don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe to the MMA Zone to see more videos just like this. See you next time.